welcome to Pensacola. Thank you. Happy to be here. This is my first time doing the Pensacon. You guys been here before?
First time.
Sweet.
You had some fine dining with us last night.
I did. You guys ever heard of Hooters? I almost walked there because it's a half mile from my hotel, but I went to Crabs last night, and I got some of the best seafood I've had in a really long time.
So, before we get into all the wrestling questions, I wanted to ask you about, you started a stand-up career.
Yes, off and on for the past 10, 12 years, sometimes once a year, that's it. So I think you need like 5,000 reps to figure out your voice and be good. I'm on like my 40th show, so we're getting there, baby steps, but now my brother has taken over. So we used to call it DZ and Friends, and I don't want to get sued by my former employer since I don't know the name, so now my brother has taken over the booking side of it, but we still do the shows together before big pay-per-views, WWE, AEW, TNA, anything. We set up some big shows, and it's now called Hunkamania. My brother books it, but now we have a good time, and same deal, a bunch of fun. People stepping out of their comfort zone to do, some wrestlers to do some stand-up comedy, and some good ones, some bad ones, which is the best. And luckily, the loyal fans of wrestling have followed us into these other adventures, and it's been very awesome, so I appreciate that.
So a lot of it is funny stories about your career, and one of the funny stories is the creation of the Spirit Squad.
Funny to you guys. My career, but yeah, that's fine. It's a great career. One of the stories I tell, it's some of it's real, most of it's real, sadly. But it's, I was told for a couple of months, I was brand new into training in WWE. I was in their developmental territory in Louisville, Kentucky. It's called Ohio Valley Wrestling. I was training, I was a couple months in, and they said, hey, we really, I had amateur wrestled in grade school, high school, college, all-time winningest wrestler, I can't say, no big deal. And they said, we really like, I had short hair, no tattoos, and I had a college wrestling background. They said, we could see you doing something with Kurt Angle to where he's like your mentor. And I was like, this is unbelievable. He's a hero, like legitimate hero of mine. And if he didn't do so well in WWE, I might not even have got a tryout. So I owe this man my career. I'm so excited. It goes to be the coolest thing ever. I get to be mentored by my hero, and then maybe I get better and we become a tag team. I was picturing, the Disney movie all the way down the line. We become the tag team champions, best friends, all that stuff. And a couple months after they told me that, they brought me into TV with 4 other guys. And they said, we don't know what you're doing, but you're meeting the boss today. And at that point, we were the minor leagues, so we didn't really hang out with Vince too often, and we haven't really talked to him at all. And he brought, the 4 or 5 of us go into a room, and Vince comes in on the other side, and he says, he goes, we're gonna do something that's never been done before. And I'm like, whoa, this is big. And we kidnap somebody, bury him in the desert. Wow, this is gonna be wild. This is gonna be intense. It's awesome. He goes, male cheerleaders. And my heart broke. But no Kurt Angle tag team there. But we did. I was the luckiest guy in the world. We were idiot young guys, and we were going to be in the next year 6 months, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday with Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Dusty Rhodes, Roddy Piper. We got the greatest possible training you could ever have. And we were 5 dorky white guys in a green outfit. We were the world's shittiest St. Patrick's Day parade.
Did I offend you with that story? That's my life, not yours.
Anybody walk out of here with me, brother? But first, before the question, I got to give you flowers, buddy, where they are due. You are a fabulous worker. You can make anybody look like $1 million. Even if it was a broom handle, you put it over.
I once wrestled a broom.
Oh, you did?
In Toronto. Were you there? We'll get to your question. I wrestled a broom because at the time I was fighting Edge in the main event of our live event shows. He was the world champ at the time. And the match before us was a tables match. and somebody would go through the tables, and then Charles Robinson, the referee, would go out there and sweep up all the floorboards and get everything out of there so we could have our match in the main event. And a lot of times I would be announced while he was still cleaning with the broom, and we got to a point to where we would do like little naked strut to each other, and then it went on, and then we got to a point where I tried to roll him up, and he tried to roll me up, and then I took the broom handle and rolled my legs up, and he counted 1, 2, 3, and I lost to a broom. It was the third best match on the card.
But I used to be a worker here on the Gulf Coast, so I got to learn from Sika. I got to learn from Paul Bear, Billy Bob Armstrong. Now, I love to hear a good rip story because I was notorious for pulling those in the locker rooms. You got a good one?
None that I can say out loud in 2025. There's cameras and, but like, no, that's not even like, I would just go to jail. Like, I can't say that stuff. And we missed the Wild West of pranks, and there's some scary stuff like Mr. Perfect used to do that I heard from Steve Kern that blew my mind. But no, everything we did, we're a bunch of nerds, and I was riding like Zack Ryder or Edge or Christian. They're weighing chicken breasts and going to sleep and getting their 8 hours. Like, we were nerdy guys. The funniest thing was one time, Zack Ryder and myself were at a Waffle House, and the waitress came up to me and said, she recognized me, Zack Ryder. And I said, yeah, let me go get my internet championship. And I went out in the car and grabbed his internet title and took a picture. And she goes, I don't know who you are, but to Zach, but do you carry his bags or something? She's like, yeah. At least we get to dunk on Zack Ryder. That's the safest thing I can say. Everyone's got cameras and nothing's rolling. Yeah. Talk to me afterwards. Yeah. Let's see. Least favorite Sheamus, because he always wins and it hurts. Most favorite was because I get this a lot, Kofi Kingston, because we had a best of 500 series that he won 497-3. But we had so many matches together that we were just trying to find ways to like counter a counter of a counter and go into some things, and we got. And I was so proud of it because anytime somebody canceled or somebody got hurt, him and I would either be fighting for the Intercontinental title or the U.S. title on the live events, and they would go, or something happened, or something had to switch. They'd be like, guys, can you take the semi-main event spot? And we would go out there and we would crush it, and we barely have to talk to each other because we knew each other so well. And there's one little clip, I think it's a Raw or SmackDown. We knew each other's timing and movement so well. He does a hell of a crossbody jumping off the top rope. There is a view on TV of him starting to jump off the top rope, and I'm facing this way across the ring. And he's jumping and landing, and we had the timing down so well that I turned at the last second and jumped up there. We met, and it was beautiful. But there's a shot of him jumping in the air and me walking this way, and it's so awesome. We knew each other so well that we could have fun and just do things like that without talking to each other. So that's awesome. Thank you.
What is your favorite thing about wrestling?
The money? The coolest thing in the world is every once in a while, you know, I'm in a bunch of group chats where we ride together, and it's really easy to complain about the day or your travel or something. The greatest thing in the world is remembering that my dream at 6 years old was to be a professional wrestler, and I get to do it. That's the greatest thing in the world. And then every day there was something new. When I first started, it was like, I'm training in WWE's developmental thing. I hope I make it. I had my first match on TV. This is crazy. I won a championship. I was action figure. I was in a video game. Like, you have a T-shirt that comes out. It's little kids wearing. Like, it is. Every couple months there was something new that blew my mind. And I go, I can't believe this is real. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Things like that.
I love that.
Mr. Bucky?
Yeah, how you doing, sir? So with WWE doing TNA crossovers, how did that affect you, your feelings on that? With Joe Henry winning the championship, did that affect your chances of coming back to WWE as Nic Nemeth in the Rumble?
Well, a couple things. First, one, I was in WWE for 20 years, and I go, guys, I gotta get out of here, let me go. They let me go. And then now they're texting me at 2 a.m., you up? So, obviously they're obsessed with me. They're literally obsessed. No, I think it's an awesome thing, and immediately, a couple of weeks ago we announced on paper a partnership, but 6 to 8 months ago, we announced like a softer version of it where we'd have a little crossover, and immediately I was being contacted like, will you come in and do this? Will you do this? And I said, I really feel like the NXT crossover, it's great for TNA because we get some more eyes on our product, which is awesome. And then we get some practice reps for people who are getting ready to call up to Raw or SmackDown or things like that. And it helps everybody get a few more eyes on the product on the shows. But I said, I was already in NXT. I was the champ. I don't know what I can accomplish if I go there. Now, helping someone out, sure, but helps them out in WWE? They got guys over there that can do that. I'm looking out for TNA at the moment, so if something can work out where it helps TNA, I will be there in a heartbeat. But I said, please, they asked me several times, I'm honored that they asked me, but I said, let our younger guys and gals go over to the NXT, get some eyes on them, let them get over there because I've done it already. I don't know that I can, what I can accomplish there, but down the line, I'm sure at some point there will be some big crossover, and I will be happy as hell to be a part of it and represent TNA and make it awesome.
Thank you, man.
Actually, a couple things. I have a lot of range, obviously, and I've had a lot of work done. So, no, it's the coolest. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I not only I get to do my dream job, my brother and I, and we're not like.
You mean your brother?
My brother, yes. And we're not like boring or like, hey, we're here to wrestle. Like, it's so like we're the opposite. Like, I'm usually getting yelled at for making things too entertaining. Now we got Ryan going above and beyond to make it ridiculous. But it's the coolest thing ever. We get to talk about ideas during the week, and we're wrestling on the same team. We're in tag matches together. We never did that for 20 years of my career. Even when there was a chance to, we couldn't do it. So just being together is hilarious and fun, and we get to help each other with some little bits and pieces and little tags at the end of segments that we're doing. And the first thing, Breaker, yeah, I don't watch a lot of WWE. Sometimes I have to for Busted Open, and I'll do my homework the night before. But when I was, about a little over a year ago, when I was in the ring with him, he was really, really young and green, which is everyone was telling me, and he was already really good. And ridiculously explosive, which you guys know that. But you have to almost have, please, I'm not comparing him to Goldberg because Goldberg's the worst. But Breaker is awesome, but like there's this crazy, like unchanneled, unbridled speed and power and explosiveness, and what we needed was to like find the right places for that because he's so young. He was young and new. He's still young, but he's killing it. But it was really fun to see him be like this unpolished stone as he's kicking ass, and then being a little part of like, hey, try this, do this, go here, and then watching him just crush it and learn so quickly. It probably is in his blood, so that's a little unfair. But he's absolutely killing it, and we had so much fun, and it was going so well. I was supposed to do 3 weeks at NXT. I ended up doing 6 or 7 because it went so well, and we had so much fun to get us 2 more matches with each other. So that was really cool. He's going to kill it. He's going to be good for the next 25 years. It's fun to see somebody before the entire world sees him kicking ass, and it was like, and be a small half of 1% of a help for him.
Awesome, thank you.
Nick,
I would make fun of you, but my mom still says it, so it's fine. Yeah. When she returns my calls.
If you could have one dream match, who would it be, and where would you like to have that dream match happen?
At Pensacon. Wait, do you have anything in mind? You got anybody in mind? And now this dream match, since we're making this, it have to be like active people that passed away 20 years ago. It's gonna be like Godzilla, like what?
Piper.
Anybody.
Piper would be great. Nick Bockwinkel. And I mean, Florida's always great for wrestling. Yeah, at the panel at Pensacon. No, Nick Bockwinkel would be awesome. Not everybody knows him. AWA guy, genius, awesome, so good. Him and Kurt Hennig before he became Mr. Perfect. I watched a couple matches they had. One of them's like an hour and a half, and they are like old school dudes who knew collegiate wrestling, plus were really smart, plus were really great at their job, and it's beautiful to watch those two. And since a bunch of us grew up on WWE stuff, it's really easy to forget those AWA guys that, especially, and Mr. Perfect, that was like 22 years old or something. Yeah, Ganya's for sure, but Bockwinkel was like the total package, but it wasn't nationalized TV as much, so people don't bring him up as much, but man, absolute hero. So, Mr. Perfect, I would say, he edged him out, in my opinion. Everybody's different. Let's do it, yeah, he's a Minnesota guy, I'm Ohio. Let's do it in Florida. Let's do it in Florida, at the panel, tomorrow. Let's do it.
And the German circuit, we kind of briefly talked about that in back. What was your experience like going to Japan for the first time and wrestling?
I'm someone who did not come from the independents and did not bounce around. I came from I had an amateur wrestling background. I wrestled at Kent State. I got a tryout with WWE. They said no, I was too small. And then 6 months later, at the same height, I got hired. So I missed out on just bouncing different territories, going to different countries, learning different things. I just knew the Dr. Tom, Rip Rogers, Jim Cornette, WWE training, which is fantastic. It's like the best you can get. I'm very lucky. But I never got to go train in Mexico, train in Japan, do anything different. And then once I got out of WWE, I said the first thing I want to do is, there's so many people that I never thought I would be in the ring with. Is there a way that I can get in the ring with Tanahashi before he retires? Can I get in the ring with so many people that I watched tapes of 20 years ago that I never ever thought I would get a chance to? So luckily, New Japan Pro Wrestling was welcoming to bring me in. I got to work with David Finlay, just Fit Finlay's son, who's a young dude kicking ass over there. And he's doing great, and it was so fun to I've done overseas tours with WWE for 20 years, and we had awesome crowds, and you get so used to different things. But it was just really cool to go on my own, set something up, have it be a big surprise at one of their biggest shows, and my brother and I just walk into the arena at Wrestle Kingdom with 60,000 people there, and they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yes!" It was so cool just to appear and do something. And once we got going with a couple of different matches. I became the global champion, which was a freaking honor, and I got to have a match. I tagged with Tanahashi, tagged with some other people, and I actually got to fight Tanahashi one-on-one a couple months after that, and it was one of the coolest things ever. Just hearing the crowd and the respect they have for everybody, it's so different. Because we hoot and holler because we love stuff, and a lot of times in Japan, they're just watching quietly, oh yeah. And it's so exciting to feel them watching you and enjoying it, and being out there with one of the greatest of all time. Very fortunate. Hopefully next year we do a couple more matches over there.
That's awesome. Are they going to be put online or televised?
2 matches that I had ended up being on the New Japan show, but it was Access TV and the New Japan app or something, whatever their app was. I downloaded it to get it because I was watching some footage, and it was on their show a couple different times, but not all the matches, but you get some ones in there, and also you get a million other ones that are just awesome killer matches, whoever you like, whether it's American guys, Japanese guys, people going over there back and forth, a lot of AEW guys like Kenny Omega, those kind of guys do some of the craziest, coolest stuff that I don't even understand, and it's awesome.
So conversely, the German circuit, which has been a topic of conversation over the last year on a lot of different shows, you went and did a bunch of German shows, and what's that crowd like and that work like?
It's very cool because a couple times with WWE, we would do our European tours, we would do 2 weeks, twice a year, and then we got to a point where Germany was so popular, and we were having such a good time, that we would run just German tours, and sometimes 1 Raw and 1 SmackDown German tour just bouncing around at the same time. I was very fortunate to work with Cesaro a lot. You guys know Claudio Nestor. Yeah. First of all, he's amazing. He can speak 6 different languages. He looks the part. He acts the part. He's a badass. And he had trained in Germany. He knows German, and it was so fun because it was one of the rare times where I think I was the good guy, because 17 out of 20 years I've been the bad guy. But most of the time I was, but there, he was beloved and so known that when we came out and the place blew the roof off of him, I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. And so I got to have extra fun with him and do some things. And he's one of those guys like an AJ Styles or a handful of other guys that when we start the match, we can just do some old school, real, trying to tap each other out, wrestling and fighting stuff. And he's so strong and good and can roll around and tie you up. A lot of people, when it comes down to like a WWE show or a TNA show where we're like cutting time and we have like a 6-minute match or a 10-minute, we have to cut that part out, but it is my favorite part. And we got to a point where we were doing it so much, we were doing like 5 minutes. Now 5 minutes doesn't sound like a lot. 5 minutes of non-stop amateur wrestling with one of the strongest guys pound for pound of the business. I was walking with my neck down for a week, and it was like so great because it reminded me of like being in college. So the crowds in Germany are amazing. It's a big resurgence. I think WWE doing such great business is just helping every other company and independents and everywhere around the world to keep kicking ass.
Are there any plans for TNA to start doing stuff like that?
I believe, I'm not giving anything away, but I think they've been looking into it for the last year. And I think something by the end of the year should happen, and if it doesn't, it will be a little bit afterwards, because it's a great time for the business, and TNA, I'm very fortunate to be like a small piece of that puzzle that just keeps rocking and rolling, and we're going slightly bigger buildings and selling them out every couple months, and it just feels good.